All right, summertime is in full swing in the New York City metro area, and everyone is looking to get into some summer activities. If you're a parent, you might still be looking for some sports camps to get your kids into, as sports camps are integral in young people developing their skills in specific sports. But some camps look to do more than just develop sports skills when it comes to young athletes. We're going to talk about that today, and we're going to do it with a basketball trainer with over a decade of experience. He is the founder and CEO of Humble Development, Justin Bright. Justin, welcome. How you doing, man?
Good, man. I'm blessed. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity. This is big. I just appreciate it.
Well, no, I'm glad to have you here because, I'm a huge basketball fan. I love what you're doing, training the young people with basketball skills, something that we need around. And I want to get into your background a little bit, right? Because you're from Brooklyn like myself, representing BK. You are a former hooper as well. So I have to ask you this. When did you fall in love with basketball? And even after your competitive playing days were over, when did you realize that basketball was still going to be an important part of your life?
Well, I fell in love with the game around 12 years old. Growing up in Brooklyn, it was big for us to play on the asphalt, go to different parks. So I used to ride my bike to different parks, Kingston Park, Lincoln Terrace Park, Wingate Park, these different parks, just playing with different people in different neighborhoods. And you pick up on skill sets, stuff like that, the grit, the grind of the game. And then going into high school, I picked it up a little bit more, really started taking it more serious, learning about college, AAU teams and stuff like that. And then, play it in college. So I just really learned from then, and the experience stuck with me.
And the experience stuck with you, right? And so basketball is life. We say this all the time, basketball is life. That's what happens. And then you go on to found Humble Development. That's a basketball skills and training program. You've got a summer camp that is tipping off July 10th.
Absolutely.
So I have to ask you about that, right? What was the inspiration to start Humble Development, one, the skills and training program, and then also to do a summer camp? What was the inspiration behind those two things?
Well, Humble Development came from me growing up as a player, just always falling in love with the training aspect. I realized at around the age of 15, training really separated you from your peers, right? So having a mentor of mine, Coach Tippy, he used to train me when I was 15 years old. I used to be in the gym with older guys that's getting ready for college. So that kind of stuck with me. And then that's something I always wanted to get into. So not really after my playing days, but in the midst of me playing pro and all these things, I started the company. I was volunteer coaching, and I fell in love with teaching kids and getting them better for the sport. So that's where it really comes from.
So that's where it started there, right? Teaching kids to get better score. The camp aspect of it, right? Because this is something new for you where you're doing the camp. This is the first year you guys are doing it. Why the camp? Why the need for that and for you to start doing the camp thing?
The camp is something that's missing in our community, right? If you have your typical camps in the community where they do the standard, which is skills and drills. So in my camp, I really want to give something different, just like my training. I want to educate kids on film, nutrition, how to stretch and refuel the body. So I'm introducing yoga and all these other things in the camp. And then teaching them about financial literacy, the education part of life, all the things that revolve around the game of basketball.
And that's the thing, when I heard that about your camp, that really drew me to want to talk to you more about this, because I think there's a lot of basketball camps around the NYC metro area, right? And parents are looking for things for their kids to do in the summer. So when a parent comes to you or talks to you and says, hey, I might want to try out Humble Development and their camp and what's going on, do you sell them on what you just told me and what separates your camp from other camps? Is that the biggest selling point for you, that, hey, these are the things that we do that separates my camp from this other camp?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the key things, that the unique style of my teaching, the creativity that I use, the way that I implement certain things outside of basketball into basketball. So I think that what helps people gravitate to my program. And then I show demonstration via content, right? On social media, they look it up, they get to see, oh, wow, he helped this kid is now a top kid in the city. He had this kid since he was 4 years old. Now he's the #1 kid, so the work speaks for itself.
Work speaks for itself indeed. So Justin, I gotta ask this as well too, because I know you know this. You've hooped, you've been around basketball for a long time. Something you hear from older basketball fans, and I think people watching will know this too, is that the fundamentals of the game are gone. They're not being taught anymore. Is that something you see when you look at hoops, whether it's on the amateur level in high school, or do you think the game is missing fundamentals being taught on that level? And is that something that you try to bring with what you do?
So I'm an old school, new school guy. All right, so I'm close to the old school and I'm real close to the new school. So I try to incorporate both worlds. I don't think fundamentals are lacking. I just feel like it's not highlighted as much because the game has evolved. It's so more advanced now. Right? You see a 9-year-old who could do so many different dribble moves and combos and actually can comprehend and demonstrate it in games. Well, back in the days, that wasn't the case, right? You used to have to be good at triple threat, had to be good at making reads, you had to be good at making shots. Well, now you have to create a lot of your shots. You have to learn how to slither your way through the defense and the cracks and make these spectacular plays because the game has evolved. Players are faster now, players are stronger now, and the education is bigger now.
That's a great point too, where the game has evolved and players are actually being asked to do more. So with that being said, follow-up for you here is, do you feel like because of that, training is more vital for basketball now more than it ever has been?
Absolutely. Training is very vital. Training is a business. Training is a brand. It's like you need training, right? For your kid to be really good, you need training. For your kid to make jump shots in the game, they need training, need repetition. And training brings the repetition, and it also gives the kid confidence. So training is huge.
Training is huge. Training is something that basketball young players need for sure. So I know you're a basketball fan as well. I got to ask you about the NBA. I know you watch the NBA like me all the time. Who are some players right now in the league that you enjoy watching? You just love to watch them. Doesn't matter what the game is. You're going to turn them on. Just tell me, who do you like to watch and why do you love watching them play?
Well, I'm a fan of aggression, skills, and intelligence. So I love like Kyrie Irving. He's very creative with the basketball, right? It's like he's an artist and the court is his canvas. And every day he's coming out with a different painting, right? So I love that. Then you have Paul George, who reminds me of Kyrie Irving, just like a bigger frame. You have Devin Booker. He's a dog, mid-range assassin. You know, he talks trash talks. I love Kevin Durant. He's a freak of nature. You've never seen anyone 7 foot that can do these things. And that goes to my point, the creativity. Look at these guys' creativity and what they're bringing to the game, how they helping elevate the game, right? Evolve the game.
The game is always evolving. That's the one thing I love about basketball. The game is always evolving. It's a beautiful sport, always evolving. Got to ask you this. I am not sure. You can tell me, are you a Knicks fan or a Nets fan? Or neither?
I'm just a basketball fan.
Just a
I would
basketball
say, yeah,
fan.
I'm a basketball fan.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you about this because the Knicks and Nets, it's the offseason. You know, we're looking at Summer League at this time. What do you think of the moves the Knicks and the Nets have made this offseason, particularly the Knicks, right? Because they were in the playoffs last year, made it to the second round. Do you think the Knicks are closer to winning a championship with the moves that they've made this offseason?
I really believe so. I believe in the past, the Knicks weren't really focused on being contenders. I think it was more so, you know, like money's pouring in, who cares? But now I believe that they're trying to win. So I love the moves that they made with the Bronson and the Randalls, and I love the RJ Barrett. You know, I love the moves. It's almost a team full of lefties, right? So I kind of love the way they're going, the way they're competing now, and also hiring a coach like Tibbs. Tibbs is a hard-nosed guy. He's a defensive guy and zero tolerance. So, and he goes hard on those guys. So I love what I see from the Knicks, definitely. And I love how they fought in the postseason, making some noise. And it's no place like New York, right? It's a lot of pressure to play here. The fans are ruthless. You know, so much distractions in New York. But I love what they're doing. I love the pieces that they're bringing in.
All right, Justin, let's get back to training for a second, because when I talk to different trainers, the one thing they tell me, whether they've trained pro athletes, youth basketball players as you've trained, is that they just love this. What do you love the most about training players? And I ask that in part because another thing I always hear from trainers is the thing that they really like the most is seeing an athlete go from one level to the other right before their eyes. So when you see that, an athlete you've worked with, they go from one step to the other, what is that feeling like for you?
Well, I get to see the kids start from scratch and then develop into a complete player. So for instance, kid may come up to me, he may come to me, or she, with no left hand. I get to see the left hand develop. I get to see the jump shot develop. So that's very enjoyable. And then when I work with the pros are already somewhat good, but I get to add to their game, right? So if a pro needs more help, more reps on shooting, or more tighten on the handle, I get to help them with these things which help them get more money. So that's the enjoy part. And then it's also a service of God. I feel like it's a spiritual connection with me and the clients. God is using me to teach them and develop them. And then you develop these little families. If I had somebody from 10 years old and then they turn 16, they're like a little brother to me, all right? And if I have a little girl that's 4 years old, now she's 9, she's like a little sister. So I have these mini families all around the city that I developed these relationships with and the connection that I have with these kids. So that's the enjoyable part for me.
The other thing about your training, and you kind of hit on this before, right? But it's the things that you are also working with the young people on besides just the on-the-court skills, right? You got pre and post-workout skills and recovery. And you're also helping them with social media training. Why do you believe that these things are so important to teach young people beyond the on-the-court training?
Well, we'll start with social media. Social media is a big thing because, as you can see in today's game and today's world, a lot of players get in trouble off the court, right? So we need to teach our youth how to conduct themselves off the court so they can avoid these situations, right? And with nutrition and stuff, it's just teaching them how to proper rest, stretch, and what to eat so they can perform at a high level on a daily basis.
Yeah, and these are things that players definitely need to learn. I think that's what's so beautiful about what you're doing here is it's not just about the on-the-court skills. There's so much to life beyond that, right? And players need to learn that. Young people need to learn that. So I think that's good, too. Okay, Justin, last thing for me here. I know, and you've talked to me about this, I know that you're excited that this is the first year of doing the Humble Development Basketball Camp, and salute to you for that. Starts on July 10th, people.
Yes, July 10th.
What do you see as being next for yourself and next for Humble Development? Because I know you got lofty goals. I know you want this to grow. I know you want this to be beyond this. What do you think is next for yourself in Humble Development?
Well, first for myself, my goals that I want to accomplish is to become a big-time pro trainer. I would like NBA clientele, WNBA clientele, overseas clientele. Because my goal is to bridge the gap with the pros and the youth. There's a big missing gap. So if I could combine both worlds, that could help the youth even more and humble the pros, right? That's why it's called Humble Development. And then for myself, for my brand, I would like to be spread out around the country, have different gyms, locations, have trainees that work for me, and just pouring out the foundation that I created. So that's what I really want to do.
So the camp, Humble Development Camp, goes down this summer with Justin Bright. You guys got sponsorship. You're all ready to go. But what I want you to do is let the people know about the camp. Let them know how they can get involved, how they can bring their kids to this camp. Let the people know.
First, you got to head to Eventbrite, type in Humble Development. It's a 6-week camp. You can select any week you want. You can do all 6 weeks, or you can do 1, 2, it doesn't matter. Everything else is self-explanatory in terms of the days and what we're going to be doing. And then the sponsors, I have to take a huge shout out to Team Epiphany. We also sponsored by Gatorade, Jumpman, and we're also sponsored by Undefeated.
All right, got some good sponsors there. Exciting, as I said, this camp tips off July 10th. If you're interested, go sign up to that right now. That is my guy, Justin Bright, CEO and founder of Humble Development. Justin, appreciate you, man. Thank you for the time.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. Well, good luck with the camp and everything, and we'll do this again soon. Again, check out Humble Development Camp going down this summer, starting on July 10th. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Peace.